Rust is a static type language, which means that it must know the type of all the variables at compile time. However, the compiler can usually guess what type we want to use based on the value we provide and how we use it. Data types in Rust are divided into two major categories: scalar and compound. Scalar data types represents a single value such as integer, boolean, and the values of scalar data types are stored in the stack memory. On the other hand, we have compound data types. So compound data types can be group multiple values into one type, such as arrays and vectors. And the values of compound data types store in heap memory because the size of these data types are not predefined and it can varies at runtime. Furthermore, Rust has four primary scalar types such as integers, floating point, booleans, and characters. And the compound data types has only two primitive types, tuples and arrays. So we will be covering compound data types in upcoming videos because it requires a single video for each type. And in this video, we are going to talk about the scalar data types. In scalar, first we have integer data types. So what is an integer? An integer is a number without a fractional component. So what does that statement mean? It says that any number, either negative or positive, with no decimal values, known as an integer. So integer variables are further divided into 6 categories: 8-bit, which holds 2 to the power 8 values, 16-bit, which holds the value 2 to the power 16, and then we have 32-bit integers, 64-bit integers, 128-bit integer. There is one more special integer data type, which is arc, and we also call that as architecture type integer. So basically, how does that data type works? If you are going to run your program on 86 architecture machine, then it will automatically consider your integers as 32-bit. And if you are running your program on 64-bit machine, then it will automatically consider your integers as 64-bit. Now, as you can see that the integers are ranged from negative to positive. So they are further divided into two subcategories: signed integer and unsigned integer. The syntax of signed integer variables just simply use I before the integer type. However, the unsigned variables, we use U before the variable type. So signed integers are the variable that can be negative or positive within the allowed limit range, and unsigned holds only the positive values within the range of the variable type. Now let's see the practical demonstration of integer data type. In our previous video on variables, we have already seen that how we can define a variable. But in that video, we haven't get into the types in depth. So now let me create a new folder, cargo new scalar, and let me go inside this folder. And you can see that the scalar folder is now created, and I'm going inside the main.rs file. So I'm deleting this statement, and let's define our first integer variable with 8-bit. So how we can say that? Let x is equal to 5. This is the syntax that we have seen in our previous video. But if we want to define a type of this variable, then we are going to use i8. This integer is now considered as 8-bit integer. And if we print this variable, and if I run this program, so yeah, here you can see that the 10 is now printed in our terminal. Again, if we want to define a variable, let's say y is equal to i16, and the value would be like 1000. And if I print this variable and run this program again, so you can see that the 1000 is now printed in our terminal. Same goes with the 32-bit integer, 64-bit integer, and 128-bit integer. And if I talk about the arc type, and let's define an arc type integer. So we are saying let AR of arc type as equal to a big number. And then if I print this number and run this program, so you can see that cannot find the type arc in this scope. Why we are seeing this error? Because the arc is basically nothing. It is nothing. If we want to define a variable as arc type, then we are going to use isize. And again, if I run this program, here you can see that this big number is now printed on our terminal. These are the syntactical way how we can define our variables, more specifically our integer variables in Rust programming language. But now let's see how we can define a variable as unsigned variable. And you can see that x is defined as 8-bit integer with I sign. I means this is an signed variable. So if I say -10 and run this program again, so now 10 is now printed in our terminal with the minus sign. But let's say if I make this variable as u, unsigned variable, and run this program again, we will see that our compiler is now panicked and it says cannot apply urinary operator minus to the type u8, because we are saying that this variable is going to be a positive value. And now I remove this minus sign from it, run this program again, so it is working fine. So this is the concept of signed and unsigned variable. If a variable is defined with I, it means that its value can be varied from minus to plus. And if a variable is defined as u type, then the value will always be a positive integer. So we have already seen one error here. If you are defining an unsigned variable with minus sign, then our compiler got panicked and we are getting an error in our terminal. Let's say you have a variable of type u8 that can hold the value between 0 to 255. If you try to change the variable to the value outside that range, such as 256, then integer overflow will occur. And let me show you how it looks like. If I run this program, and you can see that literal out of range for u8. It means that the value of u8 varies between 0 to 255. If I go beyond this range, then our compiler start panicking. So always remember that if you are assigning a value that is out of the range of a particular variable, then our compiler will start panicking. Now let's move to the floating point type. Rust also has two primitive types of floating point numbers. So floating points types are F32 and F64. Here F32 means the floating point will be 32-bit and F64-bit means the floating point will be a 64-bit. So let me show you how you can define a floating point. Let's say we have F is equal to 10.5. So this is a floating point number. Now if I want to define this as a 32-bit, then what I have to say F32. And if I print this floating point number, then you will see, let me comment this out. Then you will see that 10.5 is now printed in our terminal. So 10.5 is a floating point number. If I try to assign 10.5 in I16 and run this program, then you will see that the number mismatch type, because integers are the number, those doesn't contains the decimal number. So this is a 32-bit floating point. If I want to define a 64-bit floating point, then I can do this. And if I run this program again, here you can see that 10.5444 is now printed in our terminal. So there are only two types of floating points in Rust, 32-bit and 42-bit. And how we can define them, F32 and F64. So these are the convention of how we can define the floating point numbers. Now we have Boolean types. As in the most other programming languages, a Boolean type in Rust has two possible values, either true and false. In Rust, Booleans are only 1 byte in size. The Boolean types in Rust is specifically use keyword. So if I want to define a Boolean type, let b is equal to, and I'm saying true, and I'm printing this true in our terminal, our program will run absolutely fine because it automatically considered it as a Boolean number. But if we explicitly want to define the Boolean type, then we say bool. And if I run this program again, then it will run absolutely fine as previously. And the another Boolean type we have false. And if I run this program again, then it is running absolutely fine without any error. Now the main way of using Boolean values through the conditions, which we are going to discuss in upcoming videos, such as if expression. Another data type, we have a character type. So Rust character type is a language most primitive alphabetic type. Let's say if I want to define a single alphabet in our language, then there is a slightly different convention for character type. So I'm saying let's see a character and the value of that character is A. You can see that characters can be defined in a single quote and only one character is allowed in characters type. So if I run this program, so A is now printed in our terminal. If I say AB, then you can see that we are getting a syntax error. So character literal may only contains only one code point. So we can define only one character at a time in a character type variable. So that's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.